Hello and welcome. Chris from Missouri here, bringing you another video about vintage baseball cards. In this video, I'm going to show you a handful of cards, and I'm going to tell you why they're special to me and why I like them. But before I do that, I need to take care of some business. First of all, this video is sponsored by three different channels. They don't know they're my sponsor, but they are financially obligated to fulfill their duties once they find out. And my three sponsors aren't necessarily small channels, they're not necessarily big channels. I'm just giving shout outs to some people that I want to give shout outs to. First of all, first shout out goes to Hodges1455. What a good guy. Get over there and watch his channel, give it a like, subscribe to it if you're not already. Second sponsor, he's been around for a while, and give him a like before football season starts, because he might not be in the best mood when football season starts. But that's Brad8671. What a generous guy. Some of you might know him as Bradley Claus, maybe. And then the final sponsor of this is Vintage Dave T. Now, Dave hasn't been around as long as a couple of those guys have. But get over there, watch his channel, subscribe to it, give it a chance, see what you think. So before I show cards and get too far along into this video, we have some things coming up as far as hobby goes. And one of those things, it's Hobby Palooza. And Hobby Palooza, if you don't know, it's 3 days of wall-to-wall baseball knowledge or sports card knowledge by YouTubers. See, it was started by Mike Baseball Collector back when COVID was around, and they canceled the national hobby show. And so what Mike did is he decided, instead of you going to the national, we're going to bring some hobby news to you. And it's now being ran by 4 collectors, and they do such a great job. And they've made it 3 days, and it's it's 1 hour of content each for till the weekend's over, except the last show of every night. It could go a really, really long time. But I am lucky enough to be invited on 2 different channels. And so I'm going to be on, and I'd like you to pay attention to this, because we're going to be trying to raise some money for Signatures for Soldiers. It's a good cause, and we'll tell you more about that during Hobby Palooza. But I'm going to be on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern with Dom and Jake on their show Cracking Cooperstown. And what we're going to do, I have a little series that I've been doing, and it's been a while since I've done one, is just a bit outside. And it's what we're going to discuss is players that aren't in the Hall of Fame that maybe should be, or discuss why they're not in the Hall of Fame. And so that's Saturday at 4 o'clock. On Sunday, Mike Baseball Collector has invited me to be on his show, and we're doing our Showcase Showdown. So those of you that follow my channel and follow Mike's, you know exactly what that is. And so that's going to be on Sunday. I don't know the exact time on that, but get over to 4 Collector's channel, and he's got a list of shows and the times they're going to be on. So get over there, take a look at it, and circle Cracking Cooperstown and circle Showcase Showdown, and follow along with me on those dates. And speaking of 4 collectors, we got the National Sports Card Convention coming up in Chicago here in a couple weeks. And right now, as of now, I can't figure out a way to go to it. I got too much stuff involved with work, and I'm not trying to fish out there and get you guys to write comments saying, "Oh, Chris, please come, please come." If I can figure out just a portion of a time to hop on a plane to get out there and go to the meet and greet, and go to what 4 Collectors is hosting, they get to host a trade night. They are sponsoring a trade night at the National Convention, and they are excited about it. So if you're going to the National Convention, I want you to find out when that was in and stop in and say hi. If you can hear my voice, you can go to the meet and greet. Everything's free. Go meet some of your favorite YouTube content creators. Go to For Collectors Vintage Trade Night and give them a little bit of support too. So, that being said, that's all my parking lot list things. Now, getting back to why I can't go to the National is a big portion of my family's income comes during that time period. And I used to be able to, I've been to the National 4 years in a row, and it's been great. But my buddy Mauricio, who passed away at the first of the year, used to take care of that portion of my business. So now I have to oversee it, and so I'm going to miss out going with my buddies, Tom and Brent, and having the times that we've had over the last couple of years. But if there's still a chance, they say there's a chance that I might be able to go, so I'll let you know. But this time of year is pretty exciting for the baseball collectors. It's halfway through your collecting year of going to shows, and to me, the National is like an all-star game, just like Major League Baseball. All-star games in Major League Baseball marked sort of the halftime of the season. They gather the greatest players and they play, and we got that coming up. And I look at it. I've always looked at it, during my career as a teacher. Oh gosh, All-Star game is here. That means school is right around the corner. We better get ready for school. As a kid growing up, All-Star games usually were played at the end of the season, culminating what kind of year you might have had. And I have some great memories of some All-Star games. And I would like to be able to sit on here and brag about these All-Star games, but a couple of them are just bring back great memories of, I as a 8-year-old got voted to an All-Star game, and it was played about 20 miles from my house. But I told my mom and dad, who, they're driving me to the game, that I was 100% sure it was someplace else. Well, I learned my lesson because I showed up late, but I did get in the ball game, and that was kind of fun. That same ball game, I got hit by a pitch, and I used to not get hit by pitches very much, so I remember that game. I had a friend. This brings back a memory. We had an All-Star game in a town called Higginsville, Missouri, and coaches picked the team, and my friend Troy Culler, his mom and dad, even though we played on Sundays, I don't ever remember him missing church. I just don't ever. And if we played an away game, Troy's mom and dad would take off early, find a church to go to with Troy, and then bring him to the game. Now, Troy passed away way too early in his life, and he was one of my best friends growing up. But when my friend Ty and I talk about this, all three of us made an all-star team, same team. Ty and I were riding up in a caravan with the rest of the team. Troy went ahead with his mom and dad. We were supposed to play in Higginsville, but Troy had told his mom and dad in Troy. Now listen, Troy was older. Troy told his mom and dad that it was Harrisonville. Well, there's an hour, not quite an hour difference between Harrisonville and Higginsville. And Troy showed up late to our ball game there. We just crack up about it. I used to give him a hard time, and I was glad they forgot really that 6 years earlier I did the same thing with my mom and dad. So all-star teams bring a smile to my face. Now, as I get older, the all-star games in Major League Baseball, I believe, are more fun than what they were. It's more of a fan-friendly atmosphere. the home run derby. There's so many highlights now of the home run derby. King Griffey's swing during that. We got introduced to Josh Hamilton because of the home run derby, and it's just great watching it. But I loved the old days, and I don't want to be the old guy sitting around saying, "Hey, bring me back to a better time and place." But as a kid, I just looked at it differently because you were either a National League fan. My circles, you were either a National League fan or you're an American League fan. You needed somebody to root for, and we just thought the people that just watched the game was, they weren't truly fans. And so it meant a lot to me. And I remember switching over to being an American League fan. And it was about 1983. Now, in 1983, I should have been a National League fan, but I'd been living in Missouri long enough to realize that George Brett was becoming my favorite player. He'd been in the league 10 years. Just kind of surpassed Johnny Bench. In '83, I believe the National League and the American League put Johnny Bench and Carl Yastrzemski on the All-Star ballot because it was going to be their final year. And what was pretty good about those players is Johnny Bench had made the All-Stars for the Cincinnati Reds, the only team that he played on, many a time. And Carl Yastrzemski, the same thing with the Red Sox. It's only one team. And they were put on the team, and I really loved that. But for some reason, I was rooting for the American League team. And I remember, we were playing in a game, and it was, late in the year, and I don't even know if the game meant anything. But I remember a friend of mine driving up to the fence of the ball diamond, and he had his radio on, and the All-Star game was up, and Fred. It was early in the game, and I didn't look this up. I probably should have looked it up. Should have even looked up if it was '83, but I believe it was '83. And we were getting ready to bat, and I was going to be maybe the fourth batter of that inning. And so I had my shin guard still on because I was a catcher. And my friend Gary Griffith drove up to the fence, and there was American League was up to bat, and they had bases loaded, and Fred Lynn was up. And I was enthralled, caught up in this game that was on the radio, talking to my friend Gary, listening to it as I'm standing outside the baseball diamond up against the fence, and they're yelling for me to get up to bat. And so I got my shin guards still on, and they're yelling for me. And as I'm walking away, Freddie Lynn hits a grand slam home run in the All-Star game. Now, I was excited because for some reason, I don't know why it was, but for some reason I was rooting for the American League. And shoot, I'd not been paying attention to my game at all. Not that I was a bad teammate, I was just enthralled, caught up into this All-Star game. And I get up to bat, and I got bases loaded just like Freddie Lynn. And I'm like, this couldn't be any better. Couldn't be any better. So I take off my last shin guard as I get closer to the plate, and I step up there with bases loaded. Freddie Lynn just hit a home run, and I know something special is going to happen. I just know it. You just feel it, right? I just felt it. And I take a mighty swing, and I hit the ball hard. It was a one-hopper to the pitcher. He throws back to the catcher and gets me out at first for a double play. Now, Freddie Lynn hits a home run during an All-Star game, and I get doubled up with bases loaded. And I just thought I will remember that. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know if that's the exact date. I don't even know if it was 1983. I do know that Freddie Lynn was the one that hit the grand slam, and I do know that it was me that hit into a double play, and so those won't be taken away from my memories. Now the All-Star game and cards, you could. I love how the All-Star cards look like when they. And I was listening to Garrett over at Card Cutter, and he's a big autograph collector, and he was talking about when he gets an autograph, he loves it when it gets he loves it when it's not just his name, and I forget what he calls it. Sorry about this, Garrett, but he loves the Hall of Fame inscription. He loves it when he gets more than that. He loves it when he gets like 3-time All-Star, Hall of Fame, whatever, or strikeout leaders. The more stuff on his cards that they sign, the more he likes the cards. Well, I think Topps did that with their cards. And I want you to look at this. These aren't autograph cards, but on this card here, I loved it. I love this star. This is Dick Allen, 75 Dick Allen card. Beautiful card, by the way. But you can see the star there when it says All American League All-Star at first base, and it has a facsimile sticker on it. So it's adding to that card, and I really like how that star pops out. Now they did that in '76 as well, and this is my favorite card. This is my favorite card. I don't think I'm going to ever upgrade it, but this is Johnny Bench. Now look at that All-Star. Have you noticed that on that card? One, this is my favorite card because I like the picture of him in that dirt and that the dust flying in the air. But as you look closer, it says National League All-Star Catcher. Now they've gotten creative in other ways. So the following year in '77, they just put like a little scrolling. You know how the ESPN has a little scrolling thing down below. Well, the '77 card. Look at this, Pete Rose. This just says National League All-Stars. And look at that scrolling on the bottom there. I really like the way that looks. Now in '78, I'm going to show you one more in '78. And they went back and they made this one, instead of the star, they made it look like a policeman's badge. And this is 1978 Topps Carl Yastrzemski in a 6. And I just think them adding to that card, sort of like what Garrett says about somebody's autograph, I think it makes those cards stand out. So this card collecting's fun. I've showed you these cards. I've talked to you about the possibility of me not being at the National Convention. Get over to watch Hodges 1455, Brad 8671, and Vintage Dave T. Also, take a look at Hobbypalooza over the following weekend coming up. Check it out. If you go to the National, go to the meet and greet and go to the Vintage Trade Night. Make yourself known. Introduce yourself. Now, guys, remember, this is just a hobby. Collect what you like.